Cryptocurrencies have really become mainstream again after a couple of dormant years in what I just coined as being the Valley of Lost Hope, when the values of Ethereum and Bitcoin plunged over 80% from their peaks near the end of 2017, which had a lot of people holding the bag either on coin that they purchased at the top of that past rally, or even worse, thousands of dollars invested in high-end gaming computer hardware at inflated price points at the time for people who wanted to create Ethereum or other cryptocurrency mining rigs. And really, here's the thing, back in 2018, the whole crypto space and narrative around cryptocurrencies was quite a bit different than it is fast forward a couple years now in 2021, when it has institutional investors taking an interest in cryptocurrencies and its future, as well as fintech companies starting to really accept this form of payment as a viable payment, and then also even some consumer goods companies like Tesla who are accepting now Bitcoin as forms of payment for their vehicles. I mean, let's be real here, it doesn't really get more 2021 than being able to purchase an electric vehicle made from a company founded by a guy who's looking to ship humans to Mars with a digital currency that only a few years back most people had never even heard of. Things are getting pretty interesting, and well, on the sidelines, I've had a mining rig running in the background 24/7 since basically January 2018, right when the market tumbled dramatically, leaving me kind of worried about how I would ever be able to recoup my invested capital. But at that point, the money was already sunk into the equipment, and instead of starting a Minecraft channel, which in retrospect might have been more profitable, well, I chose to just let the rig chug along, basically forget about it, and hope for an eventual recovery, which 3 years later has now happened. So anyways, now that cryptocurrency is once again the investment flavor of the month, and this time it actually has some basis to stay with us for good, combined with the fact that I have had quite a few viewers reach out to me wondering if I could do an update on the rig and whether or not I would even recommend building a rig as of right now. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to make today's video. And although we're going to get into more detail as to why this is, I'm not going to take the whole video to explain whether or not I would or would not recommend doing so. I'll just say it right now, no, I would not recommend that you build out a mining rig as of this point and this stage in the game, for a couple of reasons, mainly being the fact that a small GPU mining rig is not going to have enough computing power in order to make a large enough difference moving forward as of right now. And for me, having built it around 4 years ago, I kind of just attribute it now to luck and time being on my side. This is because over time, mining difficulty increases, meaning that a smaller GPU mining rig will mine less and less coin as time goes on. So to better showcase why that is though, let's take a look at how much I've been able to mine since 2018 and whether or not the playing field has changed here. And by the way, if it hasn't been evident enough as of now, I was mining Ethereum, or I still do mine Ethereum to this day, and this is the second largest cryptocurrency in terms of market capitalization, right behind Bitcoin. But let's backtrack a couple of years back to when I was first building out the mining rig. So to keep things really simple, a mining rig is basically just a really strong computer that has a lot more graphic computing power than anyone would pretty much ever need. But instead of playing graphic intensive video games, well, the graphics cards are used to solve really complex mathematical equations that when solved result in the creation of a new block on the respective blockchain, which is then also rewarded in crypto. And because my rig was nowhere near powerful enough to ever do this on its own, it made a lot more sense for me to join what's known as a mining pool, where essentially a bunch of people that have rigs ranging from small ones like mine all the way up to massive warehouses can pool their power together towards mining blocks, and then everyone gets their respective share or portion of the pie every time a block is found. And honestly, this has worked out pretty well for me over the past couple of years. The pool that was chosen was called ETH2 Miners, and this is it right here. If you've been a longtime viewer of the channel, then you might remember this screen when I used to make updates about my rig. But yeah, as of right now, there are roughly 30,000 miners all contributing to this pool, which is generating over 11 terahash per second of computing power, which is an insane amount of power. Just to give you some perspective here, my 3 GPU mining rig that does contribute to that pool generates around 90 megahash per second of computing power on average, and this means that my share of the reward whenever this pool does find a block is around 0.0017%. And if we zoom out to a more macro scale, well, on the larger Ethereum network, we're looking at a hash rate of over 400 terahash per second. And this leads me to the first main reason as to why I wouldn't really recommend anyone build an Ethereum mining rig right now, or pretty much any crypto rig for that matter, unless you're looking to do this on an institutional level with a massive amount of capital invested. So if we click on this right here, we're brought to a page showcasing Ethereum's network difficulty. And you may be wondering, like, what the heck is network difficulty, right? Well, every cryptocurrency has what's known as a network, which represents all of the miners currently working towards solving blocks. And network difficulty is the difficulty of the problems that miners must solve to find a block. So essentially, the more miners that are on a network, the more difficult it becomes to find new blocks and in return be rewarded with crypto. Now, I could get a bit more in depth about this, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. What really needs to just be taken away from this is this graph representing Ethereum's network difficulty over time, which, as we can see, has gradually increased over the past couple of years because there's more interest towards crypto as a whole and mining crypto. So with more individuals hopping on the network, this has resulted in the network difficulty increasing. So basically everyone gets a smaller portion of the pie. And by the way, even though the rules might differ a little bit from crypto to crypto, the general network difficulty phenomenon is something that's pretty much universal across all coins and major cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, for example, which has become even worse to mine than Ethereum over time. Over the past 3 years alone, it's become 7 times harder to mine Bitcoin, making it nearly impossible for a small rig like I have to actually make a difference, and you would need a massive investment to open up an industrial-sized mining warehouse to even take a crack at this crypto. In fact, there's actually a guy from my hometown that a couple of years back, in 2017 I think, he opened up a Bitcoin mining farm down in the Caribbean where electricity is very cheap, and safe to say that that is probably one of the best decisions he has ever made in retrospect, even though over the past couple of years, with the price of coins being so low, this was probably somewhat of a stressful environment because so much capital was invested initially. But if you think of it, well, this individual was able to mine that much more coin because the network difficulty was significantly lower. Basically what I'm saying here is that I don't want to say it's too late or anything, but having hopped on this train years back will have made a significant difference over time. But back to my rig, well, considering everything we just spoke about, with more miners hopping on the Ethereum network, well, my relative portion and share of each block found in my pool has gradually gone down over the past couple of years, and that's something I want to look at right now. I actually had a lot of fun making today's video because I revisited a bunch of old videos I had released on the channel speaking about my mining rig. But anyways, if we're looking at them right here, I basically figured out from that old footage that in 2018, around the beginning of 2018, I was mining roughly 0.005286 ETH per day, which at the time had a value of roughly $2.40, since the value of Ethereum was at around $400 or so dollars. So yeah, I was definitely on my way to riches, we can say that. But no, I mean, at a rig value of $2,477 US dollars, what was it going to take? Over 1,000 days to even break even on the investment. And as I said earlier, this doesn't even take into account electricity costs, even though for me, I am located in Quebec and we have extremely cheap electricity. So in my overall cost, this isn't something that I really took into account, because it would basically cost the same as running a small computer, really minimal in the bigger picture. But really what I wanted to get out of that old clip was how much ETH I was mining on average per day in terms of an actual coin value, not dollar value. And now fast forward a couple of years, how that has changed as the network difficulty has increased. So I'm looking at my Exodus wallet right here, which is now the wallet that I mine to with my rig. And we can see that on average, I mine roughly 0.0038 ETH per day, which means that it's decreased by around 40% on a relative basis. So at current market values, the same amount mined daily would be at around $8.50 USD, rather than, what was it, $2.50 at the time. And really though, this is only going to get worse as time progresses, and this also doesn't even take into account the fact that Ethereum is looking to change the way that mining a block is actually accomplished. So anyways, at current Ethereum market values, well, well, this is translated into now over $15,000 worth of Ethereum having been mined through that little GPU mining rig. But this does represent over a 500% return on investment in terms of the capital that was used to buy that equipment. But in retrospect, I kind of just really attribute this now to luck more than anything. And in contrast, had that same $3,000 been invested in even just Apple stock, considering reinvesting of dividends, that investment would be worth around $8,700. And let's say Tesla stock, nearly 30 grand. But hey, I guess that's the beauty of diversification in a portfolio, to also include a smaller portion of cryptos. All this to say though, like I said at the beginning of the video, that I wouldn't consider building a mining rig as of right now if I were to do this again. And after years of mining, well, I've since sold off around half of the coins that were mined in order to cover those initial expenses and then also materialize some profits, which I have to say does feel quite good after years of thinking this might actually go nowhere and we would basically lose out on that invested capital. And slowly but surely, I am developing more conviction towards blockchain technology as a whole, and more importantly, cryptocurrency. I will admit that it has taken me some time to really come around to viewing cryptocurrency as an actual viable investment, and then also B, potentially even a form of currency that is used on a more day-to-day basis. I think we still have a long ways to go to make that a reality. However, this is something that over time I've now kind of come around to seeing this as being a more viable option. But really, if you do want exposure to cryptocurrency and you want to hold some in your portfolio, well, I would sooner just recommend that you buy some outright instead of building a mining rig, waiting a couple of years, and hopefully coming into the black on your investment. I would personally just recommend using either Exodus as a wallet. That's personally what I use, as well as a couple other platforms like BlockFi. I've spoken about all of these in detail in the video that I'm overlaying right here. I would highly recommend that you check that out if you're interested. And this strategy also allows you to have more flexibility and spread out your coin holdings, where instead of just going all in on mining one single coin, you can decide that, hey, I want to buy some Ethereum, I want to buy some Bitcoin, Monero, whatever cryptocurrency you're interested in. This allows more flexibility than if you actually sink a ton of cash into building a rig. And in my case, well, with this rig that was built a while ago, I did have time on my side, and now I'm back in the black on that investment. I'm just going to allow it to continue running until it becomes too difficult and it doesn't make sense to mine that Ethereum anymore. This is something that I have no idea really when that timeline is going to be, but for now it's something that every single day is making me some passive income, since I've already covered my invested capital, having sold off a portion a couple of months back. So this is something now that just creates passive income for me. And if you're interested in buying and holding some cryptocurrency, a really great way to actually make some interest on your holdings is with BlockFi. And this is a platform that allows you to deposit cash into your BlockFi account, and then from there you can purchase a variety of different cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and others, while also benefiting from up to 8.6% annual interest on your crypto deposits that are just sitting in the wallet anyways, like a super high interest savings account. So if you're interested in checking out BlockFi though, make sure to check out the link down below in the description, where you can get a $15 bonus with a $25 deposit, all the way up to a $250 bonus as you deposit more into your account. So that pretty much wraps it up on today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and this was entertaining for you to watch. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like. It really helps the channel out, and also consider subscribing and hitting the bell button to be notified of new and upcoming investing content. On that note, thanks a lot for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.